Hello, I'm David.
Hi, I'm Julie.
Now we're going to do a review of Pit Formula, which is for 2 to 4 players, takes about 20 minutes to play. There's not a recommended age, but because this is a math fact speed game that involves multiplication, addition, subtraction, double-digit addition and subtraction, and sequencing, for sure end of 3rd grade, which would be about 9 years old, although it does provide alternative rules to play with somebody who is less than 9 years old. So let's take a look at what you're going to be doing. You're going to set up the tiles in 2 groups like this because you're going to be reaching these to complete equations. You'll do a 5x7 and a 5x7 set up randomly. For the number of players -1, that's how many flags there will be. So in a 2-player game, there will only be 1 flag. You're going to do 5 races. In a 4-player game, there will be a 1st place, 2nd, and 3rd place. You'll also have 5 trophies, 1 for each race. And that's because whoever grabs the flag and doesn't make any errors, this is how many points they will get towards their score. So in a 2-player game, there's only going to be 1 flag. That person will get 1 point. But in a 4-player game, that person will get 5 points. Silver would be 2, and bronze, 3rd place, would be 1. So this is different every time. It's different amount of points. So that was a 5-2-1. This one is a 7-5-3. So you're not too sure how many points you'll get from one race to another. You'll see here that we have our cars, and we're simulating a pit crew. So we have 4 tires, our wings, gas, and engine. Each player will have their own board. But we're going to talk about the cooperative solo rules here in a moment. These are spare parts so that if you can't find a number, you can take a spare part, but it will cost -1 point on your points there. For the first one you use, -2 should be -3 altogether. And if you use a 3rd one, that'd be -6 if you need to complete a lot of parts. Well, I should say repair a lot of things, and you can't find the parts. So there's crash and super crash. Every round we determine what do you need to repair between the races. So here, any players in last place who have to repair 4 tires. All other players must do 2 tires in the wings. And it has some flavor text here. If you're tied, right now we're starting at the beginning of the race, we're considered other players. So we both have to repair 2 tires and a wing. However, if Julie was ahead and I was behind, I would repair 4 tires, she would have to do 2 tires and a wing. But right now, because we're starting out together, we're all other players. Now, if it did say whoever's in 1st place, let's see here, last place, all players, leader. If we're tied, right now we're tied for 1st place, then we would all have to repair our engine and gas. There would be no other players. What happens is you flip up the card. This one says repair 2 tires and a gas, so we put it off to the side here. And then we'd say go, and we flip up our tires. We can flip up as many cards as we want because you'll get points if you repair more than you need. So right now, let's start. Ready, Julie? Ready? Go. So I have to find a 9. I can make this a 7 or a 9. I can make this a 12 or a 0. So, and then now we got to do sequencing. Gas is sequencing, so I got to find a 5 and a 6. Let's say the 5 wasn't there. I could take a spare part like that. Now I can stop here and grab the flag. Julie's still working on completing her stuff, her sequence. She needs, because this wraps around, this is what's tripping her up. She needs to find a 9 and a 0 because it goes from 0 to 9. So that's where you can have difficulty. This is why Julie's paused. You may think, well, what's the big deal? Because it wraps around. So I can stop the race right here, and Julie didn't complete that. So what happens now, we check for errors. I did that correctly, this. Julie did these 2, she added, and I had to use a spare part because to say I couldn't find the 5. This is a 5 right there. So I get, because I did it successfully, I didn't make any errors. Oops.
Nope. There you go.
I get 2 points. Let's say I did make an error. Julie would then get the flag if she successfully completed her stuff.
But I didn't.
But she didn't. So let's say I made a mistake and Julie didn't complete it, so no one gets the flag. Or let's say Julie did complete it and I made a mistake. She didn't get the flag, and she didn't get to go too. But for this round, we'll score it like it is. So I go 2. Mm-hmm. Now, if it's a super crash, you use the super crash in the last round, the 5th round. You go an additional 3 spaces. It's just more stuff to repair. Okay. So I go 2, and then you get points, as it says here, for every part that you repair. I repaired 2 tires, so I go 1, 2, because each tire is worth 1, and the gas is worth 2, the wings and the engine. So I'd go another 2 points. Julie, even though she didn't grab the flag, she still gets points for her tires, so she goes 2.
Don't you get a minus for that?
Oh yeah, right. I get a minus for that. Thank you. Because I use a spare part, I actually have to go back 1. So this is where we're at, and we do 4 more rounds. Now, you can repair more stuff than is needed on the card to go additional spaces.
It's right here.
Right here. So if I would have had to, so we'll do that real quick.
I have to do this again.
Yeah, we're going to do it again. Let's set it up. So in between rounds, you get new cards that you flipped up.
Oh, yeah.
Now you can flip up more cards than you need. You're not penalized for not completing anything.
I need 2 tires and an engine, please.
2 tires and an engine.
Yes,
no,
please.
You mean gas.
Or gas, thank you.
Okay. We'll put the flag back there.
Yep.
Okay, so this is where we're at the beginning of the race. So let's do second round. All players must repair engine and gas. So here we go. Ready, set, go. This is multiplication and sequencing again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to repair more than I need to get more points. Now this is double digit addition. And I'm going to repair some tires. Now Julie can grab it as soon as she wants.
I think this is right. I don't know.
Okay. All right. I could have grabbed the flag because you know that I completed these 2 is what I needed, but I was going for more points. Julie finished what she needed to complete and grabbed the flag. Let's see if she completed it successfully. So, yep, sequence 5 through 8, 7 and 6. And you have a spare part, that would be 49.
49, I was right.
Okay, now I messed up on the playthrough on this. I did a miscalculation, so I remember that I messed up on it. That's 83 plus 9 would be 92. And I did the sequence there, that's 90. And I subtracted. Okay, so Julie, nobody made mistakes. Julie will go 4. Wow.
Wow.
That's a good one for you.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. 2 plus 2 is 4. Oh, wait, you lost 1, so 2 plus 1, because you lost 1 point for using a spare part. That's 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I, on the other hand, I did 2, 4, 6, 7, 8.
Wow. Oh, you didn't do that one?
Oh, I did not. You're right. 2, 4, 6, 7. So, this game benefits those who are fast. Now, you can play a solo mode, which we did on camera. We did this playthrough here a little bit, and then we did the solo mode. And what you do then, you can play cooperative solo. And when you play solo, you have a rival. You have 40 seconds to complete the crash or the super crash in the last round. And if you make any errors, that's how far he moves. So move 1 point for every error you make. So if you don't complete your engine on time, that would be 2 points error. Your rival would move 2. Here, medium mode, less time, but any tiles you use in the 4th round cannot be used on the 5th round. So you'll have less tiles. You might have to use spare parts. Here's a hard mode. You saw, this is what you will see on the playthrough. It's 25 seconds. You don't get spare, any parts you use on the 2nd round are not used on the 3rd round, but you get them back on the 4th round. Any parts you use in the 4th round are not used on the 5th round. And when you make errors, which I did make an error, he moved ahead 4 because I messed up on that wing. Because 2 times the error was worth 2 points, and he moved ahead 4.
And then you cut the time, too.
Now, here's the thing. This is solo mode, but when you play cooperatively, you cut it in half. So we only had 13 seconds to complete each crash. So we'll show an example of that just real quick here. What that looks like when you're playing goes there. So you're going to need a timer. Engine. We both need gas.
I need an
engine.
engine. Yeah.
I need a wing. Oh, what am I doing? We have the same car.
Yeah.
I forgot that. Okay. So we work on the same car, and what you do with someone who does not calculate as fast, or a younger person, I'll say, you worry about the tires. I'll worry about the other ones. So that's what you can do for differentiation. Okay. So let's add this back in. You play with different crash cards. We start back here.
Which one are we going to play with?
We're playing hard. Okay, so here's the hard mode. Julie should have actually been blue, not yellow.
That's okay.
Okay, so now we're going to set it. We're rounding up. It should be 12 and a half seconds, but rounding up to 13. Okay. Okay, so the way the solo mode works, and we're playing cooperative solo, so we're dividing the time in half, is that what we don't complete, even if it's not required, that's how far I move. So here, last place. We're all in last place. So we got to do 2 tires and a wing. Okay?
Okay.
So we got to do 2 tires and a wing. If we don't complete this, those are considered errors, and he'll move times 2.
Mm-hmm.
We got to focus on this. If we complete more than we need to, it will prevent him from moving. So let's say we do complete all this. If we don't complete these as well, he'll go 1, 2, 4, 6 spaces. We still have to grab the flag. You'll see us when we played once that we completed what we have, but we didn't grab the flag in time. Okay, so ready?
Yeah.
You flip up the wing, I'll flip up the
Okay.
tires. Ready, go. Okay, do that. Let's see.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Okay. And we probably could have completed something else, but we ran out of time. So let's check for errors. 80, 90, 9, 8. So at least we completed what we were supposed to. So we will move ahead only 2 spaces. On that, I'll show you a little closer here. Only 2 in it's still considered a 2-player game. So we go 2.
Yeah.
Plus 2, 3, 4. That's 6. He goes 1, 2, 4, 5. Wait, 2, 4, 6.
Yeah.
So we're tied. Now, if this was the second round, we would not put these back, and we would have to try to complete the next crash without these tiles, and then we'd put them back in the next round. So that's the mode we prefer, and you're going to find out now in the review. So let's give our rating. That's the first thing that we're going to do. So here we go. We've all said, okay, we'll play if in the mood, and you're going to find out why here as to our reasons. However, I added, would be an 8 when played with children cooperatively. Notice I didn't say competitively.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. So it's a thematic speed, math, fact, skill development game. It's definitely developing math facts.
Yep.
Okay, it's better than worksheets.
Yep.
But it's not necessarily as enriching as a game where it's not as authentic. What that means is it's more it's in between being very didactic worksheet flashcards and in between being authentic like Blockus. Blockus teaches you geometry, for instance, and shapes and flipping and rotation without realizing that's what you're doing. A teacher would point it out, you're doing geometry. And, oh, cool. The game, adults play the game regardless of the math.
Yeah.
This game you play because you want, it's on the spectrum here of worksheets, flashcards, authentic developing math skills. It's more like a 4. 5 would be right in the middle.
Okay.
Because it's more math fact than it is, that's the main mechanic. You're using math facts. But at least it's not as boring as worksheets.
True.
Okay?
True.
So that's why it's a math fact skill development game. It's above average components and nice art. These pieces are nice and thick. I was worried that this was going to warp when we did the unboxing. They're not warping, so good job on it, but they are thin. But not so, at least it's not paper. So it's above average component quality, and the art is nice.
Yeah, the art's really nice.
So if you have a child that's interested in racing, this definitely gets you in the mode of racing. Okay, so the speed mechanic is a minus. When you watch the playthrough, I'm able to calculate faster than Julie. Julie has a cognition disability, so she's not able to compete at the level she could have 12 years ago. Okay, but even then, there's adults that think faster than other adults, and there's children that are going to think faster. If I use this with gifted and talented,
they kick my butt.
If I use this with gifted and talented children, not everybody is in a gifted program for mathematics. You have different batteries that you can assess children on. A quantitative, which is math, verbal, which would be logic, verbal linguistic. Then you have visual spatial. Visual spatial usually correlates with quantitative reasoning, but you don't, not always. So you can have a child in a gifted and talented that's really good at math, but the other child was identified because you're really good with verbal things, they won't be competitive. So even in a gifted and talented program, this game would be difficult to use with kids because kids don't have different abilities, let alone in a regular school situation. Just be aware of that. So that's why it's a minus, because this, the speed, kids are going to get frustrated. Adults will get frustrated.
Yep.
So, so that's also minus, is the competitiveness part of that and a zone of proximal development issue. So if you know about Vygotsky and the whole idea of ZPD, is that if it's too easy, that means the child can do it on their own. If it's too hard, they'll give up. The zone is right in the middle, where with some adult assistance or some socialization, some social aspect of either another child, another adult helping, they can successfully do it, and then it leads to learning. The zone expands. So for instance, you didn't know your ABCs at first, or let's say you knew, okay, let's do math. You know your single digit addition, and then you go on to subtraction, and then you try to do double digit addition and subtraction, then you move on to multiplication. You're advancing the zone. You're not going to start a kindergartner on multiplication. You just got to get them to understand what numerals are and what 6 looks like concretely and semi-concretely, what it looks like as a digit on a paper and what it looks like when you're counting things in their hands. So that's the zone here. So this game has a problem with ZPD, because you can have a child that can't do double-digit subtraction and addition. They can do single-digit subtraction and addition, but they won't be able to do this. And you can also have a child that can't do multiplication. And then the sequencing part can be difficult because it wraps around. So that's easy to teach, that you go 1, 2, 3, 4. But this card, you need a 0 and a 1. That's hard for kids to understand, that it goes from 0 to 9, and then 0 to 9 it wraps around. So you have to teach that. I think they can get it, but right here are the killers. It does provide alternative rules that you can remove certain crash cards that don't have multiplication, but still, this is going to be hard for a kid to do mental math. Yes, you can give a calculator, I guess. Maybe that's the way to do that, to help a child that can't handle the mental math component. So that's where you get to see my comment there about need small group instruction. Because the ZPD is all over the place, this game would have to be played with an adult to help, cooperatively, or with a very abled child that can do this mental math with a child who can't. So you're going to have to play in teams, probably cooperatively. I do not recommend this game competitively. Okay, so different modes of play, cooperative best. We do recommend that, as I just said. The rule book is pleasurable despite some buried rules. So, and when you read the rule book, it provides designer instructions here. This can be nice for a young person. So there are some buried rules here and there. For instance, I forgot that you play with the super crash in the last round. Yeah. It's buried around in here. But otherwise, the rule book was a fun read. So let's see what Julie has to say.
Not as much as David. I thought this was an interesting way to help kids, with math. It, adds a little something fun. As you said, it's not a worksheet. It's, you get to touch things, and I don't know. I thought it was fun.
Well, it's thematic.
Yeah. The player boards are cool because you have your own race car and you get to fix it up and everything. It's pretty. I think it's pretty cool. It's fun playing cooperatively. That was the best. The components are average. The cards are kind of floppy, but everything else is pretty good. And it can get very frustrating for those who struggle with math and speed. For me, it was very. I don't like that stress. I already have a hard time with math, and then to add the speed concept on top of it, it was very overwhelming for me. And I'm not going to lie, I got to a point where I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm not going to do it. I don't want to push myself like that because it's very frustrating, and so I didn't do it.
Right, so you can cause to give up. Now, that's an adult that might give up. Just think of what children would do who cannot be competitive in a speed game. So that's why we recommend this cooperatively.
Yep.
With the rival. So keep that in mind. Our review here, it is solid as a cooperative game.
Mm-hmm.
Do not recommend it as a speed game.
Unless you have someone that is just as good at doing that with you.
Yeah, maybe. But even then, it can get...
No, I think if you played with the boys, it would be more competitive.
That's true. So the speed game, I'll revise what I said. I only recommend the speed game when everybody can calculate efficiently and quickly.
Yep.
If you're playing with, if there's players that don't have the same calculation skills, do not recommend it.
Nope.
But I do recommend the cooperative version.
Yes, I agree.
All right, so thanks for watching.
Thanks so much, you guys. We hope you like this, and we'll see you in the next video.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.